Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the Palestine Liberation Organization's Central Council calls last night on its leadership to suspend recognition of Israel until the latter fulfills several Palestinian demands, including an Israeli recognition of a Palestinian state. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warns that an American intention to form a zone in northern Syria that will be controlled by US-backed rebels could lead to the partition of the war-torn country. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani announces that the United States had failed to undermine the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, primarily known as the Iranian Nuclear Agreement, and hailed the accord as a long-lasting victory for the Islamic Republic. The Palestine Liberation Organization's Central Council called last night on its leadership to suspend recognition of Israel until the latter recognized a state of Palestine within the pre-1967 borders, canceled its decision to annex East Jerusalem, and stop construction immediately in all Jewish settlements on lands the Palestinians demand for their future state.
2. تكليف اللجنة التنفيذية لمنظمة التحرير الفلسطينية بتعليق الاعتراف بإسرائيل إلى حين اعترافها بدولة فلسطين على حدود عام 67 وإلغاء قرار ضم القدس الشرقية ووقف الاستيطان. 3. يجدد المجلس المركزي قراره بوقف التنسيق الأمني بكافة أشكاله.
The Palestinian Central Council's summary announcement further asserted that the interim agreement decided upon in the Oslo Accords, which was signed in both Cairo and Washington, no longer existed, nor any of the Accords' commitments. The Council has also reiterated its call to end any security cooperation with Israel in any form, and also repeated its opposition to recognizing Israel as the Jewish state. It is important to know that while the Council's resolutions carry significant weight, they must be approved by Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is currently on an official state visit to India, condemned the statements made by the Palestinian leadership in Ramallah. Prime Minister Netanyahu accused President Mahmoud Abbas of making his statements due to fear of an American peace initiative that would have ultimately brought about a viable solution to the decades-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a reality Netanyahu claimed the Palestinians are not interested in. Netanyahu says that the attempt to rule out Washington from its legitimate role as mediator and to replace the United States with other parties stems from a simple fact. For too long, the Palestinian Authority has been pampered by the international community, which did not dare tell them the truth, not on the matter of Jerusalem, not on the matter of recognizing the State of Israel, and not on the matter of their other demands and measures. Netanyahu further stressed they were always patted on the head, and this has changed. This is the first time that someone has told President Abbas the truth to his face. Now to the ongoing conflict in Israel's northern neighbor, where the Syrian army has reportedly stepped up its offensive in the war-torn country's rebel-held Idlib province, a northwestern district that has harbored Islamist fugitives and their families, marking the territory for the Assad regime as a vital component in winning the war. The offensive by Assad's military, however, has angered Turkey, which received assurances from both Russia and Iran that Idlib, among other designated zones in Syria, would remain untouched as part of a deconfliction accord signed by Moscow, Tehran, and Ankara. Furthermore, Turkey, which already hosts some 3 million refugees from the 6-year-old conflict, fear a further influx across its border from Idlib province, which borders southern Turkey.
İdlib'de saldırıların artması orada yeni bir göç hareketine, yeni mağduriyetlerin oluşmasına sebep olacaktır. Yani milyonlarca insanın yaşadığı yerde siz terör grubuyla sivilleri nasıl ayırt edeceksiniz? Suriye'nin barış sürecini akamete uğratmaktan, kesintiye uğratmaktan başka hiçbir işe yaramaz. O bakımdan özellikle rejime Rusya Federasyonu'nun ve İran'ın bu konuda daha fazla telkinde bulunması zorunlu hale gelmiştir.
Meanwhile, the US-led coalition announced a plan to establish a 30,000-strong border force in Syria that will include fighters of the mainly Kurdish YPG-led Syrian Democratic Forces, primarily known by its acronym, the SDF Alliance. The American plan has infuriated its NATO ally Turkey, which considers the YPG as an extension of the PKK that is internationally recognized as a terrorist organization, including by the United States and Europe. That is why, in an address to his followers in Ankara, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan accused Washington of creating a terror army on the doorstep of Turkey, pledging to crush it before it came into being.
Müttefikimiz dediğimiz bir ülke, tüm itirazlarımıza, tüm ikazlarımıza, tüm iyi niyetli telkinlerimize rağmen sınırlarımız boyunca bir terör ordusu kurmakta ısrar ediyor. Türkiye sınırı boyunca kurulacak bir terör yapılanmasının Türkiye'den başka bir hedefi olabilir mi? Şimdi artık Amerika ülkemiz sınırları boyunca bir terör ordusunu kurduğunu ikrar etmiştir. Bize düşen de bu terör ordusunu daha doğmadan boğmaktır.
President Erdogan further warned the Kurdish militias that raising US flags and putting American insignias on their uniforms would not save them, signaling to the US to withdraw from Kurdish positions before Turkish forces invade Syria, as they have concluded preparations to launch an imminent full-scale operation against the Kurdish militias that Ankara designated as terrorist organizations.
Teröristlerin üniformalarındaki işaretlerinizi söküp alın ki teröristlerle birlikte olanları da toprağa gömmek mecburiyetinde biz kalmayalım. Türk Silahlı Kuvvetlerimiz en kısa sürede Afrin ve Münbiş meselesini Allah'ın izniyle halledecektir. Hazırlıklarımız tamamlanmıştır. Harekat her an başlayabilir.
Meanwhile, in Moscow, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned that the American intention to form a zone that is controlled by US-backed rebels could lead to the partition of Syria.
Объявление о том, что эта зона будет контролироваться группами под руководством Соединенных Штатов, причем силами до 30 тысяч человек, это очень серьезный вопрос, который вызывает опасения, что взят курс на раздел